Well, good evening, everybody. I guess I should say celebrate good times. Come on. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I don't have the background music. I'm not paying to play that tonight. I just sing a little bit, tidbit of it. But welcome. Come on in. Come on in. I'm Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the coaching community, the book business bosses. And tonight we're celebrating BK Royston Foundation.org. And the crowd goes, and the crowd goes wild. So this week, I am celebrating with my friends and my mentors. They don't know it yet, but they're my mentors with foundations. Come on in, come on in, come on in. So we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary of BK Royston Foundation. BKRoyston Foundation.org is all about literacy, diversity, inclusion, and servicing underserved and underrepresented communities, primarily with books. So we've done books and backpacks and all that good stuff for the past year. And yes, we were established in a pandemic. Yes, a pandemic, no less. My official anniversary, 1 year anniversary of BK Royston Foundation is June 23rd. June 23rd. So I'm going to kind of be celebrating all week long and all that good stuff. But I bought my besties with me tonight, and they're going to help me celebrate, and they're going to talk about their foundations and their nonprofit organizations that they have as well. And they're going to give not only me some tips and tricks, but they're going to provide some of those for you. So I always, every now and then, should I go at the beginning of the alphabet or should I go to the end of the alphabet? So this time I'm going to start with Marquise. Marquise Watson, I want her to introduce herself, tell us about her nonprofit and really the mission of her nonprofit. And of course, where to visit her website and where to find her on social media. Marquise?
I'm here, Julia. I feel like you always end up using me the first time every time we do something together. It's always the W first. So I guess I need to be prepared. But hi, everyone. My name is Marquise Watson, and I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. The organization that I am representing this evening is the Ilana Marie Project. And we can be found, as Julia has down at the bottom of the screen, at www.ilanamarieproject.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our mission is to encourage, empower, and support families who have experienced the loss of a baby, whether from miscarriage, stillbirth, or infant death. And really, our vision for our organization is create a culture of transparency around pregnancy and infant loss, which is usually a very taboo topic that people don't talk about very often.
Yeah, really, really. And just in case you didn't know, we have, you go to the BK Royston Publishing YouTube channel, Marquise's husband and 3 other phenomenal fathers were on for a special Live Your Best Life Father's Day program. And another father wanted to jump on. I said, boo, you can't be just on any program you decide you want to be on. I said, these gentlemen have suffered the loss of a child, or in Marcus's case, multiple children. So that was, he's like, oh no, I haven't suffered. Oh wow, my heart goes out to those men and I'm praying for them. I said, yeah, I continue to pray for them, but yeah, no, not this time. I'll have you on another time. But that was a phenomenal talk. And I was privileged to be a part of that conversation, because that is a rough conversation. We normally work with the mother on those types of conversations, but hearing it from the father's point of view, it was heart-wrenching, and knowing that the dad's emotions are not normally heard, but we got to clearly hear them the other day. So go to the BK Royston Publishing YouTube channel and watch that replay, because it really is something to hear. And it was a devastating experience for me, because just knowing that, even though I have no biological children, my heart always goes out to people who have been in those situations. I have no words. There's no great words of comfort or something great. I just pray. That's all I can do, because I would probably still be under the bed if that happened to me. So proud of all that you're doing, and we'll talk more and more about your nonprofit. So Karen Brown, you're up next. Yes, Lord.
Hello, I am Karen Dixon Brown, and I have founded the ES3 Foundation. And we say ES3 no limit. So ES stands for Eddie Servants, and the three is because he was the third. So we started the foundation after we lost him almost 3 years ago. We're shy from 3 years. We started, the foundation was established November 14th. 2018, and I didn't even realize that it was founded exactly 3 months after I lost him. I believe that's the time period that I was able to think, and I just said, let me do something. And so I just started working. And the reason I started it was because Eddie, my middle child who I lost, he was the one, I always say he was the earth, fire, water, wind child. He just never stopped. And he always picked up a little bit from me as far as being an advocate to help people, support people, and want to keep doing that, and helping himself through so many trials and tribulations. After I went through a bad divorce with his father, he just kept going and like climbing the highest mountains and doing yoga on the prettiest beaches, but always wanting to help people. So one of his nicknames was Edo. So we pulled that out and put that in our mission statement. And what we use Edo for is that we're going to continue to empower people, to decide, to develop, and overcome any obstacles that may come their way, because they're going to come. And I like to reach out to like the tweens through the millennials, because that's that age where you think you know what you want, but the world's telling you you want something else. So where I'm passionate about this is we're excited about the direction that this foundation is going. Are we happy that we have to wear these t-shirts and do this? No, but I thank God for the strength he continues to provide, so we can wake up and answer the next phone call or help and support the next person. And we have an ES3 Facebook page, and we're working towards everything else we need to do as far as ES3. But we are reachable, and I shouldn't say this live, but we are reachable 24/7, because I'm coming from other nonprofits where I've worked hotlines, and I know we cannot stop just because we're tired, especially when I want the mission of the ES3 Foundation to touch every and anybody. So we got 3, 4, 5 phones going at any time.
Okay. Now, after midnight, wait till the morning. Don't call her then. But anyway.
If it's an emergency, I have been woken up to messages. You know, I turned all the notifications off, but sometimes I'm up and I can see the light go off on the phones, and I will look. I have counseled people at 3 a.m. I have worked with people who've been suicidal, because I'm not going to say, oh, I'll deal with it at 9. And that's what I love about nonprofit. And I've worked nonprofit for other nonprofits for over the past 25 years. And if I was the one back then to pull my sleeves up and get dirty, I mean, I've been under houses of shelters. I've been under the shelter. I've done everything. I'm a certified plumber. Keeping the shelter running. I've said I'll do everything but get on the roof. So if I can do that for somebody else, I'm not going to be lazy and not do it for my son.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I'm just trying to save you some more sleep. But
it's
anyway,
okay. My husband, I wake him up. He can take some of the calls too.
This is definitely true. This is definitely true. Well, hello, Miss AJ Houston. How are you, love?
I'm wonderful. I apologize for being late. Over today.
I understand. It's that kind of day. I understand. Please introduce yourself and tell us the website and the mission of your nonprofit organization.
Well, my name is Andrea Houston, also known as AJ. But I run a nonprofit called Education First Foundation, and it initially started in 2008. And it serves to it functions to serve the showcase of HBCU, which is the organization that I have had on the ground in Louisville since 2005. And that organization does exactly what its name says, showcase HBCUs, right? So I'm very passionate about our students, our young people, realizing their dreams, doing what they want to do. And on that journey to finding out and learning about college, if it's for them, I want to introduce them to historically Black colleges and universities because I believe that they are viable institutions. I myself am a proud alum of Hampton University, and I promote all HBCUs. Our website is www.showcasehbcu.com. So there you can find more information about what we do, how we help students navigate the college application process, how we do workshops and classes, and of course, our college fair that we host here locally in Louisville. So my passion is real. I've been doing this for a long time, well over 20 years. I'm grateful to God that He chose me for this journey in order to help young people realize their dreams.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I have partnered with Andrea on her major backpacking giveaway that happens every year, and we'll talk about events a little bit later. But first off, I really wanted to celebrate BK Royston Foundation, but also I want to celebrate all of you as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, but I also wanted to celebrate everyone because I want to really spotlight nonprofits because they sometimes go uncelebrated as they should, because we are focused on for-profits and it's all about the Benjamins, baby. But in nonprofit, it's still all about it. It's still all about money and it's still all about business. So I guess my very first question, I've gotten an idea of your inspiration, and please reach out to any of these ladies if any of their organizations inspire you, and any of these organizations you want to donate to and participate with, volunteer if you're in the area or nearby, or can help in any way, shape, or form, because we always need boots on the ground. We always need help in one way or another. And if you can donate, if you can physically come, great. If you can donate money as well. I mean, I would love to come to Virginia every time Karen has something, but that's not necessarily feasible. So, and Marquise, Cincinnati, and AJ. So I have partnered with each of these ladies in one way, shape, or form, whether it's buying sweet potato pies or sending and saying, okay, here's some money. Karen, you buy the socks. I can't get no socks, but here's money to get socks. And Marquise, here's your, I don't know nothing about no golf. And here you go. Here's a donate toward the golf. And AJ, yeah, I'm sending my books and backpacks and masks, and they'll be there. And some things I think have already started arriving. But anyway, so though I have partnered with each of them in one way, shape, or form just to get my feet wet. You know, when you're 1 year old, you like anything else. You wobbling, you holding on to things, and you need hold on to people too. You know how babies do when they're that young, they're holding on to people, holding on to things. So I guess let's dig down to the not so great side just for a second. So what are some of, because if somebody's thinking about doing that as a viable, because there's a lot of people I have met, I want to open up a home for single mothers. I want to open up a shelter for homeless, or I want a bookmobile that serves, I want that for a bookmobile that just goes into a parking lot with security, of course, but it goes into a parking lot and is able to distribute books to an underserved or unrepresented community. I mean, I want to be able to do that. I want to get a vehicle that's wrapped and, you know, be able to just hand it out. I don't have to worry about money or any of that. I want to have the money for that to be able to do that. But what are some of the drawbacks, struggles, or, you know, just some little things that you really need to be looking out for as far as that could come up with? Now, we'll talk about some tips, some wonderful things that happen, but what are some of the struggles you need to be, or things that you really need to look out for?
Who's first?
It doesn't matter. Unmute yourself and do it.
I think struggles people should look out for is not rushing into anything. You want to make sure you do your research. You want to make sure you understand your mission and not focus on somebody else's mission, and just do what feels right. And when I say do what feels right, that also means do what feels right with certain people. I've worked with so many different boards over the past 25 years where I have learned the pros and cons down to the point where I had to send paperwork in for my 501, and I got a kickback because I didn't answer a question regarding board members, and I was like, whoa. So my mind went backwards to previous boards I worked with, and I'm going to be blunt and I'm going to be honest, what I did not like. And I said, I'm going to make sure a business I'm creating from my heart is going to be run the way I want it to be run, and not what people who just want to be on a board because it looks good on their resume dictate how the program's going to be run. So I think it's do your homework. And there's a lot of people that volunteer and work at nonprofits say, oh, I want to do this one day because this happened to me. And I always say, make sure you do your homework and make sure you ask a lot of questions. I know I worry everybody. I be asking Julia questions 3 a.m. because I know she's not up, but I know she'll see them when she wake up. But no question is a dumb question. Follow your passion, but follow it smart.
I think that's really good, Karen. I can shadow a lot of what you were saying. When we first started the Ilana Marie project, I kind of jokingly tell people we did it. Like, you know, I hadn't really done like much research or anything. I just knew it was something I wanted to do in my heart. But then on the back end, I kind of had to pay for some of that lack of knowledge, you know, things I didn't know when we first started. So I think definitely doing your homework and, like Kieran said, staying true to what feels comfortable and what feels right for you and your organization. I think the other thing I could think of that's maybe not the not so glorious side about nonprofit is about being a profitable nonprofit and sustainability for your organization. And is one of the things that I think has been the hardest, sustainable funding and donors to really keep up with the mission that you have, you know, the heart for.
Right.
I guess from my perspective, I agree with what both Minister Brown and Ms. Watson have stated. Do your homework, stick to your mission and vision. I think that you should not, as a small nonprofit or a nonprofit that you're starting, compare yourself to others. You can't compare yourself to organizations that have been on the ground 50 and 100 years, and you cannot even compare yourself to organizations and or individuals who have been funded by multi-million-dollar corporations. You just can't do it. A lot of times I think that the hard part of starting an org on your own is the beauty of it, right? It's your vision. So you want to stay true to that. I know when we first started the showcase and I put it on the ground back in 04 and 05, when I was trying to shop for money for it, I couldn't get it because they said that I was promoting historically Black colleges, and then you're promoting the kids to go out of state, but they didn't even understand the data and the research, even when I put it before them, that the majority of African-American kids who set foot on a campus at an HBCU would end up going home. It's not like the commercials that you see them posting now where you get these kids to go off to these big schools and they're going back to their hometowns. Black students have been doing that all along. Why? Financially. And do they get the job opportunities out the gate? So what did I do in our first year? I cut off all PWIs. Why? Because the state wouldn't give me money. They wouldn't support it. And they told me that because it wasn't going to serve their kids. So I did what I thought was best.
Go back. What is a PWI?
A PWI is a predominantly white institution. You know, HBCUs come up with acronyms for everything. So we call ourselves HBCUs, and so we call them PWIs. But that is what a
HBCU, just for those of you, just in case, because I'm subject to replay this somewhere internationally. I don't know what a HBCU is, but a HBCU is a historically Black college or university, correct?
Historically Black colleges and universities.
And, but a lot of people like, I don't know what that is,
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And that's one of the things I would home in on. Know how to compare yourself. You don't compare yourself to apples and oranges, and don't necessarily sell your soul. In anything, you don't ever want to sell your soul to the devil. A lot of times they would dangle money. Well, if you would get behind this organization, then we'll give you this. No, thank you. You have to stick true to the vision, because if you don't, then things change. And like you said, once the vision changes, and especially if it's a God-given vision, then he's not pleased anyways, because that's not what he called you to do. You have to do exactly what he called you to do. And when you do those things he called you to do, he will equip you, prepare you and provide for you what it is. Now, it takes a lot of hard work. That's the other downfall to being a small nonprofit. A lot of times I end up doing things that I don't want to do necessarily. I wish that, I had a staff to pay for. Or sometimes when I get volunteers, I may do too much because I'm used to getting done now. And this is how it has to be. But I am, growing after 20 years. I'm like, Lord, I'm tired, So, but I just say that is some of the downsides. You're not going to always be put out there, because connections are always about relationships. And, corporations like people with big names. They don't want to support a lot of times the boots on the ground, but know that you're boots on the ground. And when you're boots on the ground, your gift will make room for you.
Now I partner with these ladies, and because my nonprofit was established in June 23rd. August, I was partnering with. Well, at that juncture, I'm 2 months old, so I'm just standing there with my hands crossed, like, okay, what I do next, Miss AJ? Because you know what I'm saying. When you're new to something, I know publishing and books, but nonprofit, I was brand new. I mean, the ink wasn't dry on my 501c3 paper from the IRS. So, I was there to really learn. And one of the things for me is was relationships, because I got on a Google Meets call with people that she had developed relationships with for 20 years. And I was privileged to be 2 months old on that call. And I have no problem saying that I was privileged. Now, I was bringing what I was supposed to bring to the table, but it was still, I was in a room that she had been cultivating and working that relationship for 20 years. So I had my pen and my notebook, just like I always do. I'm taking notes, because that was number one, is relationship. And then number two for me is a reputation, integrity, because you cannot bring all those, all of the sororities and fraternities were all represented, not just hers, but all of them were represented. But that takes relationship, that takes time, that takes integrity, that takes God is going to do it, but he's going to use people. He's going to work through people, and you can't mess over the people. That you have to hold up your end. You have to be walk in integrity and do what you say. Now, emergencies happen. Nobody's perfect. Stuff happens beyond our control. But you cannot have, after 20 years, that many organizations, that many people, that many groups of all cultures and hues, and you know exactly what I mean, come together to support something and not know that you're partnering with somebody with, okay, you need to learn. Get your pen and your pencil out and walk through that. So I know that relationships are key. I know that at all possible, that's the reason why I started ordering my supplies for August and May, because I wanted to make sure that the kids had what they need to get it. Exactly. Pastor Ruth says integrity. Yes, it will. And, exactly. Integrity is number one. Mm-hmm. So, knowing that, because, okay, so let me just tell you this. A nonprofit may be eligible for people to write off. And they've already spoken about being profitable, being a profitable nonprofit, being able to meet your budget. A nonprofit is a business. Mm-hmm. It is, I am nonprofit to nonprofit. So right. It is a business to business situation. So, what is that like? Is that back to relationships as far as the money goes, or how does that work?
I'm sorry. I know as far as me, it is the relationship. And I've been blessed to have been in the nonprofit world just from working nonprofits for so long. But I think the relationship is key, because even when I stepped away from working for other people and just said, I'm just going to work for myself and write and do the ES3, I kept the contacts that I had. I stay involved in community meetings. I'm popping up in Zoom calls. You got to keep your presence known, but not just your presence known. You have to share how important your mission is to this community, to the society, and I'm trying to branch just through the whole United States and globally, not just here. So I'm reaching out to friends that live in other countries, because our mission, what we're all doing, does not impact just our address. We have to make sure people understand impacts everywhere. So my thing is, as far as, you know, I'm blessed that I learned how to write grants, and I learned there's so much money out there for the underserved population. So we need to seek it. We need to apply for it. I don't care if it's $500, you apply for it, because 9 times out of 10, if you forget to apply for it next year, they're going to send you a reminder email and say, hey, that 500 has increased to 1,000. And what I also solicit is unstipulated funds. I'm up all hours of the night looking for them unstipulated grants, because I like the grants that come in that say, long as you serve this, send us a couple pictures and write your little 100-page thing and send the report into us, we're good. Now, of course, we all need stipulated funds that say, no, this is specific for this is specific for materials, specific for that. But we need to stop ignoring what we call little money. Little money goes a long way. Little money pays some bills. You know, little money takes care of things. And I love that we can travel and do different things and have a meeting or two and say, hey, I had a business meeting. You know, we're traveling with some family at the end of the week. We will be talking about the ES3 Foundation, because we have to incorporate our to me, ES3, yes, it's a business. It's my life. When I birthed my child, and then when I lost my child, God said, no, I still need you to use him. So what you're going to do is you're going to create this foundation. And as you create it, because, you know, this is June, this is the hardest month for me because it's birthday month. And, you know, we do a lot of fundraising during this month. And I think it aligned that way so I could keep my right mind, because I don't even want to be up and dress half the time. But it's like, no, Julia's like, oh, we got this going on. I want you to be a part of it. Somebody else called me. I'm at the park for Juneteenth. And then I'm speaking at an event this Thursday. And I'm just like, Lord, I just want to stay in the bed. He said, no, I need you to continue doing some work. But then I hear my son's voice say, Mom, come on, you know you got this. Let's go. You know you got this. So I think we need to focus on the small, which becomes the big. We need to focus. And when you guys were talking about backpacks, I was so excited about that, because I remember writing for a $500 grant and the project I was going to do with this homeless program I worked for last year was a backpack project back to school. You know, COVID messed it up. They still sent us the funding, but and it was unstipulated, you know, long as you send us some pictures on volunteer day and blah, blah, blah. So we got to think small is big. We got to change our verbiage in our mind. Small is big. Like Mrs. Houston said, when God gives you direction, he supplies. And we think he's supposed to supply like this, you know, these big miracles. Little miracles are big. You know, the size of a mustard seed, which I learned through some research. I was preaching a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, I didn't know the mustard seed. I knew it was the smallest seed, but I didn't know when you plant it and it produces bigger than any other seed. I said, well, look at me learning something at an old age. So I think with our foundations, we need to do the same thing.
So Pastor Ruth says that's just like God to turn your pain into purpose.
Amen.
And believe you me, if I turn Pastor Ruth Wilson loose, she prophesy on all
Amen.
of y'all. She has. I told her my business is growing because she mess with me all the time. She keep giving me a word. So
Yes.
if I turn her loose, Lord have mercy. Marquis, anybody else want to answer the question before I move on?
I'll wait. Marquise, you want to speak on that first?
You can go first, Andrea.
Okay, so I hate to be I don't know how to say the question one more time, because I had it in my head.
What was I talking about? Money?
You were talking about money, right? And how do you compare a nonprofit to a profit?
Right. Well, wait a minute. Even before you get
connections.
When I first started the nonprofit, you know, I'm not good at that sales and all that. I'm just do what I do. But, you know, I'm like, well, I'm putting it out there. Well, whatever. I mean, you know, I know it's for a good cause, and I'm, you know, and I provided pictures and the whole 9 yards and my letters, you know, with my EIN number on it and everything like that. But God said, first off, it's not going to work until you're so much is given, much is required. So you have to be the first donor. You have to, you have to invest in it first. And he said, he gave me the vision, and he said, but you have to be the first partaker. And I'm like, well, I'm right here. He said, no, it was a way he wanted it done. And then once it happened, then it kicked off to the other things. And I thought, well, okay, I did the same thing over and over again. But for me, ministry wise, God ordained the whole thing. So he had a way. I mean, the IRS may have their way, but God had a way. He's like, until you make the first deposit, I'm not sending nobody else to you. And that's exactly what happened. You're not going to have access to anything. So mine was a spiritual thing. Everybody else's may not be that way. I mean, there are key ways you can have a coach. The nonprofit center in Louisville was very helpful. They helped me in many ways, but sometimes for me, that's what happened for me. It may not happen for everybody else, but for me, that was the way it was. It was my relationship with God really activated my first donors, period. There's nothing happened until I sold.
So that might be a little different from the way I first understood the question, but our first donors came in behind the vision, right? It was the vision that sold the donors. I think the first time we did the college fair, Ashland Oil was a donor. Sally Mae, I had National Essence Magazine was a donor, because they bought into the vision of what we were doing, where we couldn't get really the money locally to support students going to Black colleges. It happened like the opposite. So yes, God was in that mix. But when I say what I would advise someone who wants to start a nonprofit is make sure you have a good tax accountant, okay? Because it's like anything else. You are a 501c3. You have federal stipulations. You want to stay in the guidelines, because that's the first thing that a donor is going to want to know. Will I get a tax write-off? Because I'm telling you, there's money out there that you don't have to write for at all, that they're willing to give every day. And that's money to do whatever it is you want to, just because they believe in the vision. So I would say the difference between the for-profit and a nonprofit is that you got to have a good vision, right, in both of them. And then you got to have a good tax accountant in both of them as well. But I think that with the nonprofit, you got to make sure you have a good board, right? You had talked about that board giving. My board gives, we ask for 100%, and we are a working board. And it doesn't, I've done all the boards. I've done the who's in Louisville when I first got started on the board. Then I went to a working board because I needed people to be my boots on the ground. There was one key thing that I learned when I worked for Kentuckiana Girl Scouts. I had a CEO that I came up under that removed us away from Metro United Way. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not trying to sugarcoat. I'm not messing up any relationships or anything like that, but I'm being honest about make sure you work smart and not hard. In other words, if you want me to write, and this is with any org, and this was just her philosophy of why that time we had moved, because a lot of times organizations that get a lot of funding like that, they want you to write a 5-page essay for $2,500. Mm-hmm. And in that 5-page essay, they may track you for 12 to 18 months over things that are causing you to work harder and not necessarily smarter. So as a small nonprofit, you have to think about that. Yes, all monies are good, but you have to be wise about your time and your staff that you have. And is this the bang for my buck? Because if you have a good vision and you're very passionate about what you're doing and you're making those relationships, baby, you can get a $1 million grant without writing anything. Now, I haven't been blessed to see that yet, but by grace, I will. You have to know that, because I've heard too many stories of things going on right here in our community in Louisville. So I definitely say, know what you're going after. Know what you're seeking. I mean, all these organizations are good. I'm sure that I'm not saying anything about any org, but I'm just saying know what you have to work for and know what you have time, and is that going to meet your need? I think that's and to me, that's the same principle with for-profit companies. You know, they want to know what their return on investment is. So what is my return on investment? As a nonprofit, you can think that way. There is nothing wrong with saying, what is my return on investment? And if this is going to cost me to write and have my team doing this all day, all night for months, and this and that agony, and we may not be able to do this and that, it may not be worth it. You have to make sure that, you know, while you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, you want to make sure that each basket that you have that egg in, it's going to give you a return on investment that's worth it.
Woo, that blessed me. Marquise, what you got, boo?
That's really good. I like how Andrea mentioned, like, being a small nonprofit, that you have to really utilize your board, like I board also. So we need to make sure that when we do ask our board to help us with something, that, like Andrea mentioned, is definitely something that is utilizing our resources and our time, you know, in the most valuable way. I think for me, thinking about the nonprofit with that question, I feel like being afraid to talk to your family and friends. Like, I feel like for many years, I, like, for my birthday, like, literally told my family, like, instead of getting me a gift, just make a donation to our organization. And I feel like that shows your family that you mean business. Like, you know, I will pass up on a birthday gift so you can support our mission and support what we're doing for other families. So I feel like when you ask your family and friends, you know, if it's my birthday, or, you know, if you want to do something for me, you know, just donate some money to our organization, and not being afraid to have those conversations with family, like, you know, in a nice way, I expect your support, you know, and just kind of letting that be known, you know, this is what we're doing, this is what we have. You know, we support your kids when they have bake sales and all kind of other things, you know, fundraisers at their school. So we will expect you to support us as well.
That's right. My turn.
Exactly. Okay, so if anybody, because I know we have quite a few people on with us tonight, so if you have a question, go ahead and post it. If you, because I have experience with me tonight, so Ms. Andrea is the elder statesman in the group as far as nonprofits go. But if you have a question, if you have an issue, go ahead and post it in the comments. If you're considering starting a nonprofit and all of that good stuff, you know, I honestly say that, you know, I agree with that. A tax attorney, CPA, making sure you have money people on board, making sure you have board. Now I'm working on the board thing. You know, I have to be honest. Me and having the board thing, I pick people. They've said yes, but I'm not good with that. So you know, I may need a tutorial on the board thing.
That takes time. I think that even with us, you know, over the years, I have an excellent board president in Ben Johnson, right? He gets on me. He tells me when I go overboard. He tells me when to, okay, I'm just going to say, hey, girl, be quiet. You know, he'll say, or let's not do it this way. But he has been there, you know, really since day one. It's about the vision. And so, you know, you got to have people who are around you who can make that happen. You know, another one that has been there since day one is Tanya Trumbo. I mean, they understand it. They can work it from the back of their hands and what we're doing and our passion for our young people. The board has to have passion and believe in what you're doing in order for it to work.
Well, my problem is, you know, what is my main thing? I have control issues. Marquise, he always gets on me. You'll never relinquish control. My problem is not the board. The board problem is me. I'm probably in the way. I won't confess. I confess right here in front, as they say, in front of God and my friends. I think they're ready to work. I just haven't put them to work because, you know, I have control issues and I got to work on that. But I'm not, I know you're going to go further and faster with the team because each of them bring expertise to pick up the phone and do things that I don't have relationships with.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is the big joy or weakness right there. And so, you know, I'm working on it, you know, and I'm relaunching June 23rd. I'll be relaunching again. All right, I'm back. You know, I need your help now. But
and Julia, what I'm doing is because when I founded the ES3, I didn't do all the legal part of it initially because I after I lost my son, I remember I had retired from work so I can just write. And do ministerial stuff. And then after I lost him, it was like, okay, you got to get out the house to stay sane. So I went back out into the world. And you know me, once I start working, so where I'm giving 5,000%, and I'm given to all these places and everything. And this ES3 was like in the background, you know, just with my annual little fundraiser. It was in the background. And then it wasn't until I stopped again and said, okay, let me do this. So when I start thinking about the board, you have all your friends and certain things. Oh, girl, I'm gonna help you. I want to be your secretary. I want to be this. I want to be that. And you sitting there thinking you can't even go to your own job on time. So when I start thinking, I went back in my mind. And I hope she's listening, because I'm making a list to make a bunch of phone calls, because I know there's qualities, you know, like you want somebody that's going to be passionate, like Miss Houston said. And so I know certain people I may have worked with or came in contact with just anywhere. And it, you know, just anywhere. And when you think of your board, yes, we want to service certain populations and different things. And I think we cannot dismiss what somebody can bring to your business because of what they look like, you know, because of what community they come from, or, you know, if they're a part of LGBTQ. We just can't do that when somebody can give you what you know your business needs. So I have been writing a list together to pull together certain meetings as I start adding more people in. And I know why I want to include them in, because we got to be very careful, not just letting those people that you may have hung out with back in the day and somebody need a little, you know, something to do. You know, you got to be very careful if you're passionate about why you're doing this. And we have to keep that mindset. This is a business. Like Marquise said, I do the same thing. I don't want birthday gifts. I don't want Christmas gifts. I don't want anything. This month, I want you to send me socks, because we're collecting socks now after we did the 30-piece raffle, because Eddie turned 30 on the 18th. So the raffle box was 30 pieces included. And my older son, on Eddie's birthday, he sends me this big bouquet of sunflowers, him and his girlfriend, beautiful arrangement, but I fringe. I was like, I could get $5 flowers from Safeway. That's like about $67 you just sent through this door. That, you know, but I understand where his heart is, you know, because he know his brother traveled taking pictures of sunflowers and the beautiful lands and all that stuff. But I'm like Marquise, no, don't do that. This is what we need to do. But when you're looking into your board, be very careful. It's like anything else you would do with your personal life, and you know who to hang out with, when to hang out with them, and all. You know, you got a friend for everything you need. Be very careful when it comes to who you're going to be having sit at the important table. That's an important table, because it is an investment, whether you're getting paid or not. And I have people laughing now because like, oh, what are you doing? Well, I'm kind of like a starving artist. I'm running this business, but I'm happy about it. I'm exhausted sometimes, but I love being tired for what I'm doing, because one, I'm making a difference in the community as we mentor, as we continue to minister to people, as we continue to help people. So I say, be very careful who you invite to your table, and everybody that comes knocking. And it's just like anything else. I joke around, because here in the United States, you need a resume for everything. You pretty much need a resume to go to McDonald's and flip burgers. You don't need a resume to be the president, but you need a resume to work at McDonald's. So your own nonprofit business, don't be so lackadaisical and, you know, nonchalant about who you're talking to. And if somebody comes and don't present themselves well, family member, friend, college mate, or whatever, you treat them exactly how you would anybody else you're interviewing.
That is so good, Karen. I feel like, Julia, if you kind of think of it that way, like you protect your vision, and like you surround it with people that you know protect it also. But you can trust that when you're not there, that people will represent the BK Royston Foundation with honor, and that you would be really proud of, you know, the message that they share, and that they would really, you know, be an example of what you want it to be. So I feel like that's the really important part. And I think, like also has been mentioned, is just really sticking to the message. And I think people can have really good intentions about some of the ideas and things that they bring to it, but just remembering, like, this is our mission. So like, even though that's a great idea, it's not for our organization. It doesn't mean that it's not, you know, for someone else, but really sticking to, you know, your message, and not getting it kind of like muddying the waters with, you know, a bunch of different things that don't really send a consistent message.
Right, and making sure it's clear. And
Yeah,
you know,
making sure it's
as
very
they say,
clear.
casting the vision so that we know what it is. And so when we get off track, we can easily know, well, okay,
Right.
so and so already does that. Some other organization does that already. So, you know, that can be good. Okay, so last question. I don't see any comments. I mean, any questions in the comments. We've had positive comments all night long. And so we thank you for your comments and for sharing or for tagging anybody who needs this conversation. And I always enjoy having conversations with these ladies. It's always very informative and extremely positive and helps me move forward. I always like to surround myself with positive people. So based on the pandemic, I still have to go back there. What are we doing? Are we doing anything differently moving forward? Or that's part one of the question. Part two of the question, what do you have coming up next? Has the pandemic changed your focus or just changed your operations? And what do you have coming up next? What's the event that you have coming up next? Who wants to go?
I'll go first since I was the last one talking. So as far as COVID, in 20, I guess it would have been 2020, we had to cancel our big fundraiser, which is our golf outing. So that was a little bit disappointing. But we did try to incorporate some more virtual fundraisers that people didn't have to be in person with. So we did have some good success with that. And then also our board meetings were virtual, so we couldn't hug our board members, so that was kind of sad. But we're actually going to have our first in-person meeting with our board in July, so I'm looking forward to hugging everybody and seeing them all in person. As far as our events, we just had our big golf outing in May, and that was a great success. So thank you for everyone who supported us with that, including and also Kieran has supported us and really appreciate all the support. We will be doing a gift card fundraiser, like a gift card drive between the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday as a way to ramp up our gift cards that we include in our grief support packages for families after they lose a baby. So that's kind of our next thing is the gift card drive. So if anyone's interested or if you want to even just make a donation for a gift card, you can do it on our website. And also Kieran. That's kind of our next thing.
Perfect. There is the website, the AlanaMarieProject.com. And I know that there's a link there. There is definitely a donate link there for you to be able to participate and give. Who's next up? What's next?
I can talk about mine while I'm over here having technical difficulties.
We've all had them all night. Oh my God.
I actually love this platform. I've never been on it before. I mean, it's really kind of neat, but I don't know how to mute myself because I'm afraid if I hit that one button, it might turn me off. I was like, I ain't got to mute. I don't know how to prepare, but I think it allowed us to take a pause. It allowed me to take a personal pause. You know, I'm okay. You know, I trust God. I'm learning to trust him more and more. And there were some disappointments, some setbacks. Yeah, we had to cancel everything. But you know what? At the rate in which the world was going, I think God was moving and doing something greater. And I was okay with that. You know, so what we did was we did a lot of what I would call welfare checks on our team and our board. And we did those, we got on those Zooms, and of course we cut off the college fair. But I think the kids suffered in a sense that we know that nationally the numbers are not there. A lot of children did not enroll into college. So that means that teachers, counselors, those community workers who help children go to school, they really do have an impact, right? It shows that. The other downside to that is that we know we're down about, but we just got pushed back about 5 to 10 years in education with the accomplishments that we as people of color have made. So on that flip side, it wasn't good. But in the reverse, we stepped up to the plate. You know, we improvised and we had events that we thought were necessary. So we had HBCU Education Justice March, right? We went down to Simmons College and we were with Dr. Cosby and Simmons College, and We had other phenomenal speakers came out, and we had alumni, and we were out there with our bullhorns right here in the middle of what was going on nationally, and we were stomping for educational justice, right? We did that. We even did, the backpack giveaway. That was the first year we actually had it because, JCPS locally here in Louisville and a lot of orgs had been having them, but they stopped. So we just seized the moment to bring it together. I want to say that Julia, I had always participated in a backpack giveaway with the House of Hope Bills, but then Julia brought it to my attention. I was like, okay, Lord, I hear you. We're going to do it. So we went ahead, we did it in 3 weeks' time, and it turned out well. And so we're bringing it back because they're not bringing it back again. So we try to step up where there were things lacking in the community. So we are going to be at Bates Memorial on Saturday, August the 7th. At 10 a.m. Having a backpack giveaway. We're going to have entertainment there for the kids. The library is going to be giving away books as well as Julia's giving away books. So we got books galore coming. We have other orgs that are stepping up to make donations and book supplies. And, Julia, that I attribute that to you. That book, the education, that piece our kids need to read. That's what they're going to school for, right?
Yeah,
She was like, it needs to be not just a backpack, but a book drive.
Right.
So, you up the game. But that's how partnerships work. So I appreciate that. So pretty much that is what we're doing. This coming Thursday, we're actually going to support a Black-owned business. We do it every season, every summer season. We go out and we hang out at a Black-owned restaurant. We bring our babies. So we're going to play card games, spades. If you know how to play spades, you want to play spades, or what is it? Dominoes and checkers and chess and all the little games with your children and family, and support a Black-owned business. So we're going to be at Posey's, which is off of Dixie Highway in Dixie Manor. That is what our agenda is. And in the fall, we're going to have an adult game night. No kids allowed. HBC alumni and friends. And we're going to have that at Flux, which is getting ready to change its name. But if I could say a little thing real quickly, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I do want to say protect your image. If you're starting out a nonprofit, one thing that I learned is I explained that Education First started in 2008, but the showcase of HBCU started in 2004. Anybody that has a board can come in and change anything that they want by law, legally. Yes. It doesn't matter what you name it. You can start it off as Julia Royston, whatever you want. Right. But if that board comes in and decides they want to change it to Karen Dixon Royston, they can do that.
Right.
So I learned that lesson from somebody who mentored me, who had an org, and the board came in and changed its logo, changed its symbol, and he said, protect your image. And so what I did was I changed the name of Education First from, it was under my name, AJ Houston Enterprise, when we first started. I dissolved that org, started Education First, and I trademarked the showcase of HBCU. Because if any time that my board decides that it doesn't want to serve the purposes of HBCUs, they lose the rights to use the showcase of HBCU. That's what God did. So its purpose will stand. There are too many national organizations have flipped and beat to the drum of others just to get $1. But if God gives you a vision, I encourage you to hold on and have faith and do what you have to do to protect that vision. Write the vision, make it plain.
Okay, so you've given me my next, because I just sent in my trademark application for Book Business Boss. So Book Business Boss and Bosses. Okay, so BK Royston Foundation is next. Okay, thank you. You've given me that's my tip of the night. Okay, let me go save my coins and go and definitely get that done. Yeah, the partnership, when I heard that's really when I went into action, because I had the paper June 23rd, but I didn't really know what to do with it. And then they told me, July, the next month, you usually in our area. Now I know this is international, people are all over the country, but in the Louisville, Kentucky area, there's usually a list of places where underrepresented and underprivileged kids can go and get free school supplies. It's usually a long list. And some kids can even walk to the area. None. No list. None. And so we were talking about March 13th, March of 2020, the libraries are closed. There's no your school library is closed. Some of them were doing, a couple schools did the drive in exchange, whatever, but they weren't doing that over summer because that's when the teachers are off. So I'm like, okay, so if they, you normally give a lot of books away at the end of the year for kids or whatever, however that looks. But I'm like, okay, so the library, they can't go to the library, and they may have a limited library at home anyway. And then now you're not doing the backpack and school supplies. I'm like, oh no, this is not gonna work. so so I know Andrea's brother, it's like 6 degrees of separation. It's about 1 or 2 for me. So I know Andrea's brother. I said, you know what? What's your sister doing? I know she takes kids all over the country or whatever, but she was like, I wasn't doing nothing.
Right, that was you.
Yeah, I wasn't doing nothing. I said, well, what you doing? I wasn't doing nothing. She's like, I wasn't doing nothing. Okay. I said, well, I got 250 books and 250 backpacks, and I got 250 masks. What can you do with that? Oh man. She's like, oh man. And so she called up her friends and 700 backpacks and books and something else later. Here you go. So
God used you to get up under me and like, girl, quit chilling, because I was chilling in COVID like everybody else. Stay home.
But I mean, that was just like, but that was my part I had to come up with. Because just coming up with an idea, you got to put your money where your mouth is. You got to put your hard work where your mouth is. You got to get it, organized, whatever. So I guess I'm definitely with that. Thank you. Y'all giving me the idea to trademark my nonprofit before I get this board in full swing. Because, I've seen too much of that. And that's the reason why I'm probably once bitten, twice shy with a board. But I'll just be careful. Thank you for the advice. Karen, what's coming up? Oh, so I'm participating with Andrea. As I said earlier, my materials are already coming. I've also partnered with another STEM nonprofit. We're giving away a nursing scholarship, and Andrea, AJ will be happy about that because I've only sent the application to HBCU nursing programs. Did you know there are 22? There are 22 in the country that are active. So we have several applicants. The application process does not close until June 30th. So if you have a nursing student, know somebody who's interested in going to nursing school or in nursing school, especially this time, it's HBCU only. So if they're going to an HBCU and you know somebody who's in nursing school, and it's a $500 scholarship and a laptop.
Well, you gotta send that to me so we can advertise that.
Okay, well, it's right there on my site, BK Royston Foundation, but I'll send the link to you. BKRoystonFoundation.org. It's in honor of that scholarship is in honor of, and I know Marquise will like that too, just because she's a nurse as well. But it's in honor of my sister-in-law who died of COVID. She was an RN. And so in honor of her too as well. So there's a real passion about that. She was Jean Ann and I'm Julianne. Yeah, we married to twins. And so, it has a whole emotional connotation and vision and mission along with it itself. So I'm really super excited about that. My niece has her STEM nonprofit, so she really has a heart for the sciences and the whole 9 yards. So we said we would give 2 nursing scholarships. So the first one will be July 1st. We'll give that away, and the other one will be by December 30th of this year. So reach out, and I've already received emails from HBCU organizations, nursing departments are like, well, thank you for remembering us. They're like, well, thank you for even thinking of us. We appreciate that. We don't get people who come in, So I thought about it long and hard, and God said, no, go to the people who don't get all the money.
Yeah,
they don't get that ESPN money. They don't get all that TV money all the time. Go to somebody who's, really appreciative. And I don't even know who's going to get it. They're just thankful that somebody even thought of them. So for that alone, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do something else. I got to do more. I do something else. So that's kind of what's coming up. And oh gosh, I partnered and BK Royston Foundation has already given $650 backpacks, etc. So I'm super excited about that, and all that's going. That's all just going to grow because y'all going to help me and mentor me. Anyway, Karen, what's coming up next for you, baby?
That is awesome. I love hearing when we give scholarships in our communities. It's such a blessing. Me and my husband was just talking about that a couple of weeks ago because we seen some scholarships going out in our community. We was like, ES3 next year. That's one of our goals, to give a scholarship to 2 children that's going to one of our Black colleges. So we're excited about that. And you said the twin thing, so it made me think about my twin sister who went and visited Spelman 2 years ago because, you know, she started her girls club, and last year she was supposed to take 6 of the girls to Spelman, but COVID hit. So I'm going to link my sister with Sister Andrea here because she probably got a lot of good resources as well. I mean, we can help each other, and that's a blessing. What ES3 has going on for the remainder of this year, you know, we're actually in one of our awareness months right now, which is June. Eddie's birthday, June 18th. So what we did from June 1st to June 18th was, of course, the gift box raffle where we added 30 items, and an old schoolmate of mine actually won the raffle. So we're shipping a box this week to Connecticut. Yay, my hometown. So we're shipping a box there, and we're still in our sock drive. We do from June. It used to be from June to the last day of June. We do the annual sock drive where we collect silly socks, fun socks, character socks, because that's what Eddie wore. I don't care if he was 25 years old. When he opened up a gift box, you better have some funny socks in there along with his regular gift. And you would think he was 4 years old. So we're currently collecting socks. People have been cash apping, and we've been emailing invoices to people who want to pay by credit card or debit because they can't go shopping. So those are coming in. What we do each year is decide which local organization that we're going to give the socks to that cater to children in need. So we're giving it to Slim's Back to School movement. There's a beautiful young lady named Chastity White who started this organization after starting a clothing line. Every year she does a back to school. She calls it Slim's Back to School movement. And so it's going to be in August. So we're going to collect the socks through the end of July and give her the socks. Last year, I couldn't make it to the event, but she picked up the socks and we did our photos and everything. And she brought a bin back with some socks. I said, no, just keep them for whoever may need them after. She said, no. And she started laughing because all the children were picking all the colorful ones. She brought me like 40, 50 pair of black and white socks. So I told everybody this year, please don't try to get black and white, just get a few. So it was so funny to me, you know, because the year previous, I seen the children pick through what they wanted. So we're going to bless that organization again because children need, you know, she gives us backpacks and also they need. And also, so June is our big month. August is another big month where we do hiking with Eddie. Eddie used to love to hike, run, swim, do all that stuff. So we do hiking with Eddie. And when we do hiking with Eddie, we wear tie-dye. You have tie-dye something on because he always wore, I guess he didn't want to get hurt in the woods or want somebody to see him or something, but he always had on tie-dye and bright colors. So we do that. Now, COVID affected that last year when we wanted to solicit sponsors. We wanted to do a lot, you know, we was like, oh, we did it. We did awesome the first year. So now we're going to do real big. Boom, COVID came. So we didn't want to, you never want to not do something when you're a nonprofit, even if you have to do virtual, even if, just so you stay relevant. So 1, you stay relevant, and 2, 9 times out of 10, your nonprofit is still going to work because telephones are still working right now. So we still did the walk with just our immediate family. We did our regular walk, but instead of a serious long walk around the whole town, we did it at the park. We had donations come in, and I asked everybody that would have traveled to participate, if you still bike ride, if you still hike, if you still walk, send pictures. I mean, I had a couple that was, they was like in Puerto Rico on vacation. They went kayaking, and I got a picture with them in the kayak doing this, and they had the tie-dye on because Eddie always did this. So you'll see me do this all the time. So just to know, people are still thinking about the cause, and we can't be there, but here's this to help. And anything that comes in, we're using, if it's monetary, you know, of course it's sewing into the business, and we're using it to continue to mentor, we continue to motivate, you know, my passion with domestic violence, sexual assault victims, homeless people, children. I used to go to the hospital all the time and be with young mothers who didn't have anybody and help deliver babies just to be comfort for them. So if somebody need a bus ticket to get out of town and get safe home, you know, so that's a lot of what we're trying to do. So we're excited about that. And then November. So we got June, August, November. November, you know, I do sweet potato pies. I use Eddie's grandmama's old recipe. I tweak it. Last year we made and sold 200 pies. Thank you both, Julia, and this year.
I mean, their pies was good, child. They froze, they shipped to your house, took that book in the oven.
So last year is like 200 pies. So now I actually have some people have reached out to. I have a farmer in North Carolina that will supply my potatoes for me as soon as they till the ground. I paid for the boxes. My sister, her boyfriend, run and get them for me. They had me baking this summer. I was like, this ain't my season to be baking. But the pies sold. I won't ship anymore in the summer because they get a little messy, but winter is coming. And the reason I do that, because he had a passion for baking. Somebody's made me a beautiful apron with his logo. And I bake, I cry. You know, I put the music on. I'm in a whole nother world. But people are saying, and then I package it real cute, and they're like, we want some pies. But I think they're buying more pies because of the mission, because of the cause, and because of why we're doing it. They're helping me. So I've had some people looking into some industrial equipment for me when they found out I'm using the regular little stuff, and they're like, how many pies you made? And I said, I'm working on it. I'm trying to build this business smart. I'm not going to run out and buy all the fancy stuff.
No, but if they want to invest in you, see, if they want to, if they want to come on and yoke with you and donate, just give them that EIN.
I'm this close.
Go on, baby.
Julie, I'm this close with somebody getting ready to probably gift us with $1,100, the big mixer.
Yeah.
So I'm this close.
That's right. Well,
so I'm praying.
So we praying,
and I'm also
so we praying for you. I want God to come on through. And bring us the mixer and get us some flour and sugar with it and all that. Yeah.
I got 100 pounds of sugar in the kitchen now, so I was blessed with that. I mean, so
but
blessings
I
are coming in, but the main goal with the pie making in that season is where we end up with a location where when I'm making the pies, I can also have classes for the young girls where it's like a home economics type thing. So anything we do, even if it's fundraising, we want it to be educational, because they took home economics out in a lot of areas. And you know how I am with my granddaughters, and the kids aren't learning. I want them to have their own aprons. I want them to learn how to cook. I want them to understand measuring cups. So, and I even got all the little mini stuff in my house. And my husband's like, why did you get all the stuff? I said, because the grandbabies need to know. They got their own little aprons.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So that's what the ES3 is going to do. You know, we're not just going to mentor. We're going to actually teach as well.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's phenomenal. So I pray all of you get everything that you need to do what you need to do. And y'all pray that I get my SUV and wrapped and my mobile bookmobile and then do what it do. And somebody roll up with the car lot and they give us all what we need so that we can get the job done, because it's a phenomenal mission. It's a phenomenal mission that we all have, and it's, you know, it's just wonderful. And I'm thrilled and pleased to have you ladies on this evening. It has been remarkable, and thank you. I pray that all of our nonprofits do the mission that God has intended us, because I know if it's like you, it's like me, I'm not gonna be able to sleep until he get it done. And then so AJ's already got her phone call. Yeah, AJ's already got her phone call. Let's see, Marquise got hers too. I'll be rolling through your area next week. I think I'm coming through Cincinnati, eat some old fish, and hang out with your house. I think next week, Marquise. I just need to be near some water and need a different sitting, but you know, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's another challenge. It's definitely a challenge for me, but it's another opportunity, and I'm super excited about all that God has for each and every one of us. Before we go, let's see, we have 2 more comments. She's that's the person who did the apron. Oh, thank you, love. Thank you, Ms. Vini. Thank you, love. So I appreciate all of you for being on. Be sure, just before I go, if you're going to watch it on the replay, if you share it with somebody else, feel free to go to any of their contact information and find them on social media, follow them, support the organizations. If you can connect any of them with a larger organization who's willing to write out that check. We got the 501c certificates ready to go. So we can definitely make that happen and take it to the next level. So thank you, ladies, so much. Good evening to you all. Y'all have a wonderful, fantastic rest of the week. And nonprofits are definitely key to this country, key for our community, and key to change. Yes. Because there's sometimes the nonprofits do what others will not do. Pastor Ruth has prayed a blessing for continued blessings. Amen. And favor upon each of us. I receive. I lift up both hands. Amen. And I receive that in Jesus' name. Right. I know. Honey, Pastor Ruth. Oh, Lord, Apostle. Woo, Prophet Ruth Wilson, follow her. She's dangerous. So I receive that in Jesus' name. And doors to be open and God's favor be upon us. And we walk in the favor of God and man. So I love you all. You know I do.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you for having us. We're supposed to celebrate you and all the great
I know.
authors and all that.
Yes,
good
please
stuff.
Watch the replay. And, I'll have that up. Follow it. Yes. But yeah, I'm as I say, I'm still nervous. I'm still a bright-eyed and bushy-tail, like, oh, I'll be calling you. Andrew, what you do? Karen, what you got? Marquise, what are you doing? You know. Don't worry, I'll be calling. I know how to find y'all. Y'all not lost. I know how to find y'all. But I love you all and thank you so much for helping me celebrate and teaching me some things because I know I need it. So love you all. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.